Alrighty, so I made a video about 1.5 years ago now on 20 plus income stream ideas. Some of the income streams listed in that video weren't going to be feasible for me, but they could provide ideas for you. In this video, I'm going to go over my 15 income stream ideas that will most certainly be feasible and achievable for me, and most of these income streams are already underway. In my last video, I had more than 15 that could be feasible to me, but I've cut it down as new information has come to light and my opinions have changed. For example, 2 income streams I listed in that video were partaking in medical trials and breeding animals, specifically dogs or cats, since they go for a much higher ticket price than animals like guinea pigs or birds. At least, that's how it is in my state of Victoria, Australia. You can get guinea pigs for $20 to $40, depending on who you buy them from, and birds are between $60 to $100. Meanwhile, some dogs and cats can go for price tags in the several hundreds or few thousands, maybe more, depending on the breed. So the reason animal breeding is not going to be a feasible option for me anymore is because you need licenses and permits to do so. Obviously, I knew this when making that last video, but the council around my region, specifically where my house is built, are particularly strict. And simply put, my house/land would not be big enough to pass legal requirements. And even if I made the house into a big enough space for dogs and cats and whatnot to pass guidelines, that means I can't have rental income from tenants, since there would be no space for said tenants if I have a huge house dedicated for some doges. And tenants pay more than animals, so I'd be cutting a larger income stream for a smaller income stream. Makes no sense. So animal breeding is not going to be a viable income stream for me in the future anymore. The only way I could get around this is if I use my parents' property to do so, because I live on a big-ass sort of farm. But that would require me to constantly be driving all the way back to the small country town where they live to take care of said animals, which, simply put, is not worth the effort and the time. I suppose I could do some small animals like birds and guinea pigs and house them up in my room away from my future tenants, but guinea pigs stink up your room, and although birds could be content in a cage, I'd prefer if they had space to fly around, and you can't potty train burbs. So, I don't want small bits of bird shit all over my room. So this animal breeding income stream is now no longer a viable income stream strategy. The other income stream idea I've ditched is partaking in medical trials. The first, and only one I tried to participate in, I got screened out, because my lung capacity wasn't as high as it needs to be for safety standards. That's just what I get for skipping cardio. But that day was an enormous pain in the ass, taking the day off work, taking the long-ass train to Melbourne, finding my way around the city, finding my way to that specific hospital, waiting around for them to call me, doing urine tests, doing all these other tests, waiting around, then being told, oh sorry, you don't qualify for this test, then going all the way back home. Especially since the train on the way home got stopped and delayed. They said there was an unexpected delay on the tracks, so I had to get off 3 to 4 stops before the stop where I parked my car. The unexpected delay they were referring to was someone jumping right in front of the train and game overing themselves. It actually happens a fair bit in my region. It's not like a daily occurrence, but it's not something that's newsworthy anymore. So, someone game over that day. Tragedy aside, I had to try and hunt down some buses at the stop that I was left at. So many buses didn't travel to the city/town where I parked my car. I tried getting an Uber, but no one wanted to drive where I was. Eventually, I found a bus and had to use that bus to get to another bus stop and then find a new bus at that stop to take me to my car. And as soon as I got off that bus, I saw a new train arrive. So I could have just waited around instead. Nice. The point of that tangent was I wasted a lot of my time and a fair bit of money on train fares, tram fares, bus fares, all to get told, hey, your lungs basically aren't good enough for this particular experiment. So if I couldn't get accepted for that trial, what else could I get denied from? I'd be wasting my time and money on some other days. You can check beforehand what pre-screening for trials involve, but you'll never know if you're fit or healthy enough to partake in them until you actually show up to the venue and do all the tests. All that aside, yes, you can make some good money from this, but the potential for long-term consequences may not be worth it. But then again, we did get mandated by the government to take a certain jab or two in order to keep our jobs. Genuine extortion. So I participated in a medical trial in order to make money, which was keeping my jobs and my career on track. So I suppose participating in another medical trial for several $1,000s is still a potential move. But this is to say it's not something I'm actively thinking about / working towards for now. The other 15 income streams, on the other hand, I clearly am working towards, and in many cases, I already have well underway. So, let's get into them, shall we? Income stream 1, a career. So, no surprise here, the main income stream for most people. Your career, the job you require qualifications for, or the job you worked your way up in some company for. In most cases, this doesn't refer to your part-time job you have throughout high school / university, but in some cases you can work your way up through these companies. There is some good money to be had at these higher levels, and it doesn't require getting into debt for, unlike your classic degree-related careers, but generally I suggest not going down this path. I work a second job at a large supermarket chain, and the pressure and unpaid overtime that the higher managers are under is absurd. Not worth the extra money in my opinion. My career job currently pays more than what my department manager gets, and my career job is literally 10 times less stressful, probably even 20 times less stressful, and this stress eats into other parts of your life. And I'm also only a handful of years into my career. My pay only goes up from here. My line manager has no room for potential promotions unless they become the assistant store manager. But an open position at that level would need to open up first, which doesn't really happen often, since people who get into those positions stay in those positions. Same can be said for store manager, area manager, zone manager, etc. So not only is the stress not really worth it, but there aren't as many opportunities as there are in your standard career path. If you're a tradie, nurse, teacher, engineer, accountant, lawyer, doctor, whatever, if you hate your current workplace, no worries, there's other workplaces that require your skill set. If you're a manager at the big supermarket and you hate it, well, there's only like 2 to 3 other supermarket brands that offer similar pay for a similar skill set. You're pretty limited on options, unless you found some unrelated role that paid similar, which is a lot less likely than your standard career path. But anyway, income stream 1, your career. Income stream 2, a second job. As I mentioned before, I have another job. The more flexible, lower skilled jobs such as fast food, retail, restaurants, warehouses, etc. are a nice way to make some extra coin. You see a lot of YouTube videos talk about various income streams, and besides ideas like Uber / Uber Eats, DoorDash, etc., most of the extra income streams involve shit like being on your computer, aka dropshipping, YouTube, etc. Why does no one suggest getting another job? I suppose easier said than done in this economy, but even when the economy was flushed with stimulus money, I swear no one was suggesting another job. Yeah, it's obviously some extra effort, and you'd be better off just working overtime rates at your current job, but for careers that don't pay overtime, such as accounting, my career, my next best bet is just to have another job that fits around my 9 to 5. Supermarket is nice since it's open weekends and later on weeknights. Restaurant is good because of the same thing, or even bars as a bartender. Fast food is even better since some of them are 24/7. Some McDonald's and Hungry Jack's are 24/7 here in my region. Supermarkets in my area used to have overnight stacking shifts, but they've cut that since they're stingy, since you got to pay overnight rates. I personally wouldn't suggest doing the overnight shifts, since the damage to your sleep / recovery over time is not the best, but to each their own. And I mean, I just spent some time talking about medical trials and how I would still consider them, so maybe a bit hypocritical of me, but oh well, the choice is yours. Point is, an underrated income stream idea is another job. Not getting enough hours at your current job and want more money? Get another job. Want to earn more money but your career doesn't pay you overtime? Get another job. Want to earn more money but your career is in nursing, the police force, tradies, etc., and it does pay overtime? Then work overtime. Income stream 3, retirement fund benefits. So this kind of feeds off having a job, but here in Australia, a chunk of our money is withheld from us, and instead it's paid into our retirement funds. It's a forced saving mandate from the government. The reason this is a separate income stream in my eyes is because it's taxed differently and invests in products you may not directly invest in yourself if you had the choice. You can adjust what your retirement fund invests in, but I can't have 12% of my retirement fund in one particular stock. They only allow more broad options. You could lump this as either employment income or investment income, but in my eyes, this is a totally different income stream due to how it's taxed, how it's earned, and what it's invested in, as well as the fact that you can't actually touch it until you retire or reach a certain age. Income stream 4, real estate equity. Well, this isn't really an income stream since it's not income and it's not flowing into your bank account, but it is an asset that you own that grows in value over time, and you can use that equity for other stuff / sell off your asset at a higher value. My block of land I own currently has $66,250 in equity, and the land hasn't even titled yet. Imagine what it'll be in a few years. Income stream 5, rental income. So naturally, with a house you own, you can have rental income, providing the house, or apartment, condo, whatever, is big enough to have spare rooms for rent. If you own your own place and there aren't any spare bedrooms, or you just don't want to be living with other people, fair enough. But in my case, I'll have 3 spare bedrooms in my house. So there's rental income that I'll eventually have, let alone when I get around to buying property number 2, and beyond. Income stream 6, swing trading. So depending on when I upload this, my recent swing trades have totaled a return of 39%, and I haven't made many swing trades recently. I actually stopped for 2 months. About a month before my last CPA exam, I didn't bother since I was busy studying and cramming for that exam. I didn't want any of my mental space being tied up in the stock market. And the month after my exam, we were heading up to the US election. So I spent my time sussing that instead of the stock market. Made a solid $3,800 plus profit from the election, as I've already talked about before. But I've recently gotten back into swing trading. So that's what I mean in terms of recent trades. The couple I made before my exam hiatus and the ones I've made post-election have returned 39%. Now this figure could be different when you see this video, since I may have made more winning or losing trades since then, but either way, this is certainly another income stream. People will say, you can't beat the market, 99% of traders fail, blah blah blah. And yeah, I'm sure 99% of their people in their late 20s in this day and age won't own their own 4-bedroom house in a high cost of real estate country like Canada, the UK, many states in the US or Australia. And yet, I'm only a few bits of legal paperwork and several months of building away from that. So in other words, I'm basically 1 year away from owning my own 4-bedroom house. And I'll only be 28 or 29 years old. And I'm in Australia, and I bought on my own. Statistically speaking, how many people are in that boat? Probably less than 1%. So statistics say 99% of people can't get their own 4-bedroom house in their late 20s. So should you give up on owning real estate because some statistics said so? How about the percentage of people who are overweight? Isn't that above 50% in most developed countries? Let alone the even smaller population that has abs. So why bother training for abs if such a small percentage of the population can get abs? Just don't bother trying at anything while you're at it, since statistically speaking, you won't get anywhere, hey? Keep in mind, this 39% is only in recent swing trades, and I do this shit casually / passively. Imagine what I could do if I didn't work 7 days a week, or had CPA studies the past 4 years, or have a gym routine I have to stick to, let alone other crap like sorting out my home / social events / YouTube, etc. But to each their own, you could always just do the standard buy and hold. Nothing wrong with that. Speaking of, income stream 7, capital gains in stocks. So you could just buy and hold stocks and ride the wave up. This is what a lot of people do. I consider this different from my retirement fund due to the different setups and flexibility and tax treatments of the two. And much like real estate equity, this isn't really an income stream, but you can always just pluck out your profits to do with as you please, instead of being paid out in regular intervals like with a job/rental income/swing trading. It just pools in your investment account until you decide to pluck it out. You can pluck out your stock picks here. You can't pluck out your retirement fund profits until you reach a certain age/retire. This is one of several differences between retirement fund accounts and regular stock investing accounts. Income stream 8, dividend income. You could just lump this with the prior income stream, but again, different treatment for dividend income. Instead of plucking out money as you wish with long-term investing, it's done for you with dividends. Now here in Australia, we have franking tax credits, which are a different way dividends are taxed here. It's a pretty nice tax strategy. You'll note the Aussie market hasn't performed as well as the United States market. There are a number of reasons, probably mostly because there's simply more money flowing into the US markets. Like 80% of my retirement fund money is invested in the US market, with only 20% invested in the Aussie market, despite the fact that my retirement fund is in Australia. But another big reason is these franking tax credits. Companies in Australia generally don't reinvest as much into their companies as they do in the States. Instead, they pay out more dividends, generally speaking, compared to their US counterparts, mostly due to this method of taxing dividends. I'll most certainly be investing way more into Aussie companies that pay out dividends once I have my other financial goals sorted. Income stream 9, AdSense. This is already underway for me. In my last video, it wasn't. Crazy how time flies and things change, but it doesn't really pay that much. Not for me anyway. But hey, it's something, and hopefully this channel keeps growing and the AdSense is enough to cover the costs that go into this channel and then some. I'd prefer not to resort to shilling shitty sponsors in order to make this channel financially viable. Speaking of, income stream 10, sponsors. When you have a well-known brand name, other companies are willing to pay you to promote their product, since they know there are a lot of eyeballs on you. So you'd give their product good exposure. The more well-known you are, the higher they're willing to pay. Look at the recent election. The Democrats paid celebrities good coin to essentially promote them. Would the Democrats pay me craploads of money to promote them? Of course not. Why? Because my audience, relatively speaking, is small. I heard they offered to pay some TikTok creators to promote them. I'd never heard of those TikTokers that were talking about how the Democrats reached out to them. But they must have had some sort of audience. So that goes to show, in this day and age, attention equals currency. Income stream 11, products. So maybe you have a large following but don't want to promote any other sponsors. Well, instead, you could sell your own product. It'd be like a fitness guy on YouTube selling his own gym apparel instead of being sponsored by Gymshark or Alphalete. I don't know what products I'd sell, but chances are it'd be small things like, resume templates, some fancy Excel document I whipped up, some abs-specific workout program, stuff like that. My idea is they'd be super cheap to the point where a lot of people would just not hesitate to buy them. But we'll see what I end up doing. Right now, I have much more important tasks to do rather than setting up a website where I can sell my $2 Excel templates or my $5 resume or my $10 abs-specific program. Income stream 12, affiliate marketing. So if you've got a large audience and you use certain products that your audience has seen you use, example, a certain microphone for your voiceovers, certain protein powders, etc., instead of having them sponsor your every video, you can just chuck a link in the description that takes them to that product. The business that sells the item is happy because they get an extra sale they wouldn't have had otherwise. The customer is happy because they got the item for cheaper than it would normally be, and you, as the content creator, are happy because you got a small kickback as a result of having a link in your video description or a link in your social media bio, whatever it is. Income stream 13, sports betting/punting/gambling. A lot of people suggest against this. I do too, but it can be an income stream if you do it right. Example, I made $3,830-ish from betting on the election. I had 13 grand of my own money on the line. Why the hell did I have so much on the line? Because I heavily researched the data. I knew the bets I made were mostly safe. I could have made way more if I put more money on, for example, Orange Man to win the presidency, the popular vote, and the states of Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Instead, I had most of my money on him winning safer states like Iowa, Texas, and North Carolina. Even if he somehow lost, despite all the data showing otherwise, he would have still likely won those states, so I would have still made a profit. But it would have been more like $2,000-ish instead of $3,800-ish. I also made an $80 profit on the fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. As much as I wanted to see Jake get his ass kicked, facts don't care about my feelings. My guess was young guy beats old guy, and that's what happened. So a nice $80-ish in profit. Well, the fucking NBA and NFL basically stole that money back. So I made good coin on the election, some decent coin on the fight, and then negative coin on the major sports. So you can have gambling as an income stream if you do it right. Income stream 14, offset account. So in my last video, one of the income streams was a saving account. Well, I still have this currently, but it won't exist forever. Instead, I'll have an offset account. It's basically a way to reduce the interest you pay on your mortgage. If you have a mortgage, there's basically zero reason to have a savings account except as an emergency fund. Very rarely, if ever, is your bank's savings rate going to be higher than your mortgage rate. You'd rather pay 6% less on your outstanding mortgage than earning 4% on your savings. So when my real estate loans get established, bye-bye savings, hello mortgage offset. Income stream 15, tax deductions. Now, this wasn't mentioned in my last video, and much like capital appreciation in your real estate or stocks, it's not really a stream. So what do I mean when tax deductions are an income stream? Well, by reducing the tax you owe, you're saving money, correct? Depending on how good you are with taxes / what your situation allows you to deduct, you can save a good chunk of money. Now, saving money in itself is not an income stream. Otherwise, I would say the fact that I never order Uber Eats is an income stream. I don't because I'm pretty disciplined with my diet, and Uber Eats is more expensive than any of my meals. But besides that, Uber Eats literally isn't available in the small country town where I live with my parents at the moment. Like, you literally cannot order Uber Eats. By the time the delivery driver would even get to where I live, you'd need to pay them like a $60+ delivery fee for it to be even worth it for them. So saving money is not an income stream, but in terms of taxes, I see it this way since everyone who earns the same amount of money as you is subject to the same tax rate. But depending on your individual circumstances / how good you are with the tax code, you can reduce your tax liability by a good chunk. Here's a snippet of an Excel sheet I have in the works for next year. As you can see, I've cooked up what will allow me to save almost $10,000 in taxes next financial year, providing all works as I intended to, which it should. There should be no reason this doesn't work, but I won't find out until I do my taxes for next year. Now you might say, well, can any old regular accountant just do this for you? Well, depends how good they are. It's the same way I bet your financial advisor hasn't given you a 39% return on your investments / trades in the past couple of months. Your accountants and financial advisors will have their own methods and past experiences that will lead them to their suggestions, recommendations, and strategies. Even then, you don't have to be a trained accountant to do this tax stuff. I'm not a trained financial analyst, and look what I've been able to achieve in terms of self-learning. Admittedly, some of this tax stuff has come from my own personal accounting skills, but there's no real magic in my method that couldn't be figured out by any non-accountant / non-CPA. And no, I won't be sharing this info, at least most certainly not now, especially since I could spin this off into a side business / product / income stream later down the track. All that's important for the sake of this video is tax minimization, in my eyes, is an income stream. So there you have it, my 15 income stream ideas that I'll most definitely have in a few years. Most are already underway, such as career income, AdSense, swing trading, real estate equity, but some aren't, such as rental income, affiliate links, and sponsors. But as you've seen in this video, I'm well on my way to achieving these. How many income streams do you have? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. That is all.